Alrighty folks, welcome to our special guest podcast. We're here. How are you feeling, Craig? You okay?
I'm dope, mate. I'm surrounded
by at all
excited
or maybe scared that there's animals that could maybe eat you round about close to you?
I feel like the people that set the zoo up know how to stop the animals getting out to kill me.
We are going to see them soon.
So there are animals here that could kill you. Yeah, right.
Is it?
just check.
It's a good point. So we're at Fife Zoo. We got in touch with these guys, I think, when they were first started to opening up. It was a long time ago we got in touch. And they were obviously just too busy to get anything started up, because I think they had just started the cafe at first when we first got in touch. So, and then they were like, you might as well wait until we actually open the zoo.
This was early 2016.
Because we'd just seen it in
I think at that point it was even before they'd opened they were getting ready to open the cafe, so it was early 2016.
So I think I seen it in the East Fife Mail, and then I was like, fuck it, we should get in touch with these guys. We'll go out and talk to them, but it's only taken 3 years. But it's okay. Is that 4?
4 years.
4 years, unbelievable.
Well, we didn't count 2020. It's been 3 years.
Well, even though this is 2020, we tend not to try and count this in, because it's a horrible, horrible year, especially for a zoo. It's horrible. So have Michael Knight here. We've not introduced him yet, so that's cool. Actually, you can introduce yourself. What do you do at the zoo, my man?
So yeah, I'm Mike. I'm one of the 4 zoo directors, and I do a bit of absolutely everything. Day to day, I'm out on the grounds doing work in the animal department, but I do all the business admin and my fair share of everything.
Cause I thought traditionally most zoos will get folk in just for sort of dealing with certain animals and certain zones as well, certain types of animals. But of course, being a sort of smaller zoo, you're sort of tying the gear, I would assume.
Yeah, so just for scale for us at the moment, and we're just not big enough to justify having that level of staffing in. But we are growing continuously, and we're now getting to that tipping point where we are going to have to start.
Yeah,
it's just too much for one person to do on their own, and everybody else is too busy.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
I would imagine at the beginning of setting up a zoo, it's also different from being an established zoo and already having everything in place. So you're needing different skills at the beginning than you are once you're open.
Yeah, and for us, or for me, it's to work the enclosures and work the departments and iron out all the kinks, put all the risk assessments and the safe working practices in place myself, before I then hand the department over to a member of staff.
Right.
Yeah.
So would be the plan so once you're finished with a certain area, would you try and find a specialist in that area?
Yeah. So
would you get somebody in that's good with animals and then train them up to be a specialist?
We're exploring both options. As we grow, we'll have a multi-tiered department where we'll have a head keeper and then a manager, and they will have a significant amount of experience. But at the moment, because we're only looking to potentially take on one member of staff, we're toying with the idea of everything's open at the moment.
Yep.
We are potentially taking on it could be a trainee that we train in-house and put through the relevant training courses, or somebody with some experience behind them.
Well, that brings us on.
We'll speak that.
Well, basically, we done a podcast last Thursday, it would have been.
Last Thursday, yeah.
Last Thursday, it's a guy called Andrew Hodgkinson. He's been on the podcast many times, basically. He used to work at the Deer Centre.
Yeah.
He was the education guy, and he's
They went to university to learn about ecology, because he's into the ecology of nature and trying to work out. He's a big advocate of the reintroducing the lynx back into Scotland and stuff like that. So he's quite big on all that stuff. And then he started working somewhere else. Then he went to Canada and he done a bunch of stuff there. So he's well versed in everything. So, but now he's working in a farm now. And he's not enjoying it. No. So we're like, we'll ask.
That's when we raised the idea that we were going to be coming up here at some point. He was like, maybe put him in, because we were going to get him in originally, but he couldn't make it today. But so that's our pitch.
For maybe by all means,
your next employee.
Send him round.
But so it is interesting. Obviously COVID kicked in and it's kind of messed everything up, pretty much. I mean, you will still run pretty much the same. I mean, you still have to feed the animals, you have to empty the cages and stuff now and again. And
my day to day was pretty much exactly the same, minus the public being around,
minus shooing kids away, sort of thing.
Nah, they're fine. Everything carried on. Having primates on site, they are susceptible to COVID. So we were fully PPE'd up, mask, gloves, visors, everything like that.
Right.
Just for doing those. But yeah, So it was a little
I
bit...
didn't know that. What would be the situation if... what primates have you got?
So we have a pair of breeding de Brazos monkeys. We have a troop of 10 lemurs, ringtail lemurs, and we've got a trio of common marmosets.
Right.
So they're all susceptible to pretty much anything we can pass over.
So was there a plan in place for in case one of them got COVID?
It was all
because would you need to socially distance them from
each other?
That's tricky.
Oh, damn!
Socially from each other.
So no, we just put in extra monitoring.
Right.
We use the University of Edinburgh, the Dick Vet School, who have been amazing, and we were just continuously in touch with them. And any time we had any issues during lockdown, although they couldn't visit really, the invention of WhatsApp and Zoom and all of that, we could get video footage and
that is an issue that I totally wouldn't have thought about.
So they could visit in an absolute dire emergency, but other than that, like routine screening that we had during those 5 months got pushed back, and
Would the tests have been the same? Would it have been the same test as you give to a human?
I would imagine so, but it would have possibly involved anaesthetising.
Yeah, because
you know what your
monkeys are quite strong and powerful, aren't they? I reckon I've got no idea about these monkeys, but monkeys in general I seem to be quite strong.
I had a stupid thing in my head, so I'm going to say it. Nicola Sturgeon had said that it'll starting Monday. I don't know if this podcast will be on Monday, but this is what's happening Monday coming. That is, 2 households or something like that? Do the monkeys have to go through that? Like they only get one visit from one person?
No, they're a cohort at this point, I would imagine.
I'd imagine so, aye.
Well, yeah, generally speaking, the staff that work with the animals are limited to certain members of staff, and we make sure that they're all fit and well, and we go through like that. We don't have that many primates on site. Some of the bigger zoos had to go through far stricter
gorillas and stuff,
involving moving. Well, I live on site already, so that was fine, but they were moving staff in to live on site so that they could effectively shield.
Damn,
man.
I know what's gone through his head, don't I?
What?
He's got a picture in his head of a gorilla with a mask on.
Yes,
because as soon as he said gorillas and stuff, I was like, I know what he's thinking at this point.
I was thinking,
but you didn't want to say it because it was
tiny mask with the tiny gorillas, and then tiny monkeys. It's absolute stupidity. Why? Amazing.
I never thought about that.
Why? This is, again, like when I was younger, it was always a dream thing for me to work in a zoo. When I was younger, eventually it was like, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Genuinely a lot of work. So much respect for that.
It's not normal 9 to 5, I would imagine.
Definitely not.
Not even close.
Nah.
What kind of hours are you working?
At the moment, I managed to get 2 days off a week, but last year I didn't take a day off at all.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, you find in this line of work that people have like an actual passion.
Yeah, there's a legitimate passion.
Rather than going to like an office 9 to 5 sort of thing, you're actually working with animals, something you've probably wanted to do for a while.
Yeah, it's a vocation, and it's becoming a lot more of a professional industry as well. It's not just about picking up shit every day.
Yeah.
Most zookeepers in there that are probably under 30 have got a degree, almost definitely, as well as all the CPD they've done to go towards it.
Yeah.
And they're continuously improving themselves. So it's a lot more than people probably give it credit for these days.
Definitely,
and it's notoriously underpaid.
Right.
I can imagine.
But, it's a vocation.
That's it.
Yeah, you don't end up here by accident. You don't end up here because you want the fancy job.
No, it's not.
You end up here because you like animals. Yeah. So I'd imagine you've sort of always done this sort of work.
Graduated from university into doing the same thing that pretty much everyone does, straight into the voluntary work. Volunteered in a couple of places, got my first job, relocated across the country from living in Essex down to Devon, and then was like, I'm just going to end up job hopping across the country, all over the place. So I was trying to find a way that I could do it and, actually have a pretty high level of job security and I skipped a few levels, let's put it that way. But so then, started looking in the northeast of England. Didn't really, a few planning applications here and there, didn't really get too far, and then found this site that had been shut down about 3 years before we processed the kind of application.
Yeah,
right.
Never even heard of it. So
What was this before you were here?
It was Fife Animal Park, so it was an animal park of some description, but I'd never heard of it, and I only know what I've read in the media.
We stayed 20 minutes away, and I've never heard of it.
We heard of the deer centre and stuff, but we never heard of this place.
Yeah, so for us, when we bought the site, it had the infrastructure on site, like it had the restaurant building, it had a car park, it had a few other buildings, one that used to be soft play.
Right.
Okay.
So we were like, that saved us a massive headache, and then outside was just got flattened effectively.
Right.
All the enclosures got ripped down because they weren't fit for purpose, and then we started again outside, and you can see the stage that we're at now.
Yeah.
But we've got about
it looks great, actually. I like it.
Yes, we've got about 10 acres to fill.
Right.
And we're not even close to that yet.
No, because you've got like a loch or a pond or something behind here as well.
So next door that way is Burnley and Gaddon. So that's a council-run nature reserve.
So that's not your land?
That's
not
I
assumed it was all part of the same thing.
Oh, right.
But, it's great for us having that next door.
Well, it's a great kind of like natural thing to look at, because again, you could spend the whole day out here, really.
Yeah.
Because you've got like the lock, and again, I think on your website you've sort of advertised different places to go, so you can make like the whole day sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. I kind of like
I saw the map, but I think the map must just be a plan.
Yeah.
It was on some...
Yeah, so the map that we've got is what we have planning permission for now.
Right.
We've split the site in half just for ease of processing applications. So we have planning permission for pretty much half the site. So when we've got close to getting that done, we'll then put in the second half.
Right.
But generally speaking, the zoo's being split geographically. So all of this side will all be African. Hence why the majority of the animals we've got on site now are African. The other side will be Asian. And then the next application will be South American.
Right. So you've definitely started in zones. So I kind of like that idea. That's pretty cool.
So every animal will be in its appropriate geographical region. Lots of mixed species exhibits. So animals that would naturally occur together, we will be trying to mix.
Right.
To create like a fully immersive.
So what's the idea of getting the right living temperatures for like a lion, for instance? They're African, so they're used to not Scottish weather.
No. So for us, everybody gets an indoor house that's thermostatically controlled with appropriate ventilation, photo period, daylighting, full spectrum lighting, and a suitable outside enclosure that all meets their space requirements, and then they get given choice.
Right. Okay.
If they want to stay indoors all day, they can. If they want to go out all day, they can.
Because I would imagine there's lions that quite like the cold.
Yeah, there's lions at Blair Drummond. They're more than happy.
They seem quite fine up there, actually.
Because I mean, humans switch between.
You
could be born in Las Vegas, but like staying in Alaska, like you could acclimatise and stuff. I would imagine lions aren't too different.
For us, it's just about giving them choice.
Yeah.
So we provide them with all the parameters they need, and if they want to be warmer, they can do this. If they want to be cooler, they can do that.
I guess it's sort of like when you get to arachnids and stuff like that. Is that when it starts to get more tricky?
Yeah, it's when we get to the tropical stuff, the invertebrates and the amphibians and
scary
reptiles and stuff.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, the creepy stuff. They are more environmentally focused. So you have to start controlling humidity and everything like UV, all of that, which then gets more tricky. Hence why they're normally in vivariums.
Aye.
So that's good for us.
Aye.
Because then you could walk past and you're no
They're
worried.
only going to let it run free.
They're in sealed vivariums.
like an insect petting zoo.
Well, at Blair Drummond, you're sort of there.
We've got snakes and...
You've got lions.
I suppose.
I'm more scared of a lion.
I think a
than
lion
a
could
python.
batter through your car. I'm going to assume so.
Alright.
We shouldn't be talking about the dangerous side of animals. We should be being nice here.
Hey, you need to be realistic.
Aye.
Lions are beautiful, but in a fight, you're losing.
Aye. We'll see.
I think anybody would agree with that.
I think so. I think definitely so.
So, what animals have you got here so far?
Right, so in the front enclosure, as you come through the main gate, we've got meerkats and porcupines. And then further around, we've got the pair of the Brazza monkeys. We have sulcata tortoises, black-cheeked lovebirds, six-banded armadillos, agoutis, ringtail lemurs, and the zebras. We got 4 Grevy zebra. They're about halfway down the zoo, so you can just about see them from the open section. But we are developing down there, so you should be getting closer by October half term. And then off show at the moment, so not visible, we've got marmosets and coatis.
Okay.
What are they?
So they're related to raccoons.
Oh,
They
right.
kind of look like a raccoon that's had his nose and tail pinched and stretched. So they fill the gap that raccoons fill in North America. They fill it in Central and South America. I'll take you to see them later.
Nice.
That'd be cool. That'd be
Is
cool.
there any plans to get platypi?
Platypus.
Oh my god.
Not yet.
What's the deal with them? Because they're quite endangered, or they know? Or is that?
Yeah, they're in the group. Well, they're in that egg-laying mammal group that's completely endemic to Australia and lives nowhere else. So yeah,
They're weird looking.
They are at risk.
They're crazy animals.
They're sort of. It's like they got stuck in the middle of evolution.
Sorry, I have to go back to...
What?
Did you try to pluralise the platypus? So what did you say?
Platypi.
Platypi. Is that right? Is that correct?
Sure.
I actually don't know off the top of my head.
I just had to go back. That was amazing.
If it's an S, you either put an apostrophe on it or you make it an I.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cacti, platypi.
There you go. And dominate-try.
Don't
Amazing. Sorry, stupid side joke for us.
That's fine.
So you've been here how long now, did you say?
We moved on site in July 2015.
Okay. Nice.
So about 5 years.
Right. So you've been here for pretty much most of the duration sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be difficult because you come in 2015 and you can't make any money until, what was it, middle of 2016? Before the cafe was open?
So we moved in on in the middle of 2015, early 2016 the restaurant opened, and then late, I think it was Christmas 2016, the soft play opened.
Yeah.
And then the profits from those two were being used to build the zoo. So we built the zebra house. The first pair of zebras moved in March 2017, and then we just kind of did bits. But it was January 2016 that we actually secured. January 2019 that we actually secured commercial funding.
Yeah.
So we managed to kick it in, and then we got open in July.
But still, that's like at least a year and a half. Like you're just burning through money.
Yeah.
There's no money coming in.
It's a definite long-term investment. Aye. That's
Yeah.
one of the things. But I'm sure you knew that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It was about putting the groundwork in at the beginning, grassroots, to make sure that it had the most viability going forwards.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
I'm so glad that there's people willing to do that.
Aye.
Because zoos, I love the concept of zoos. And I can imagine that a lot of people wouldn't be willing to do that. Just through the fear of what if this goes wrong, what if that goes wrong.
Yeah.
Well, there's a certain security that comes with just working on a zoo sort of thing, but actually starting one from scratch is like an unbelievable like jump you need to make sort of thing to do that. But again, if it's been an interest for you for a long time, so like being able to just jump in there. So I take it you work with like business partners and stuff like that to start off.
Yeah, so there's 4 directors, and before we even started, we had the entire thing on paper. We just didn't have a site. We were looking in England for a bit, but it wasn't successful, and we were going around in circles. So we just needed to secure a site, really. And once we had the site, then everything was kind of there on paper. Little bits needed to be tweaked here and there, mostly because Scotland's different to England in terms of legislation and planning and all that type of thing. But other than that, it was pretty much there, and we just had to put those plans into place.
What were some of the huge differences between like England and Scotland as far as legislation?
It was the legalities of buying the site.
Right.
Dealing with Scottish solicitors, because when we sold down south, we had English solicitors, but then we couldn't use the same solicitors to purchase the site in Scotland, so we had to use Scottish solicitors, and they had to go between themselves.
That's another expense you didn't want to go through.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So just little things like that. But now we're completely based in Scotland. We just deal with Scottish legislation, really. But yeah, it does make COVID more complicated.
Aye. That's aye.
If you'd known about COVID, would you have still went ahead with it?
Yeah. We got through lockdown okay. We just kind of grizzed it out and got on with it.
Aye.
It was okay. It wasn't fun.
Aye. I'm guessing you've had sort of things on the side. There is sort of like things that may have happened, like to sort of close for a short while. I imagine you've had those ideas, like when you have to shut for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, we like Beef from the East. We shut for
totally.
a
Aye.
week
Things like
10
that.
days for Beef for the East.
Yeah, I never thought.
And again, that's another thing. You still have to feed the animals. It's
Yeah,
not
we
like,
put provisions in place so that should we have to shut for a shortish period, we can. But you know, lockdown was
a long time.
Was quite a long time. But yeah, it just come to the point that we had to just kind of grizz it out. And
how long have you been allowed to open back up again?
we opened more than a month back up on the 29th of June.
Right, so just over a month,
which is when zoos were allowed to open back up. But then we shut again on the 5th of July when we had the fire.
That's That's the whole reason we're here. That's because I didn't read into the story too much. I'd heard about the fire.
Yeah,
I asked Kenny just as we got here. I was like, "Did you find the guy?" or something like that. But he was like, "It was a." Well, could you explain, or like how much could you?
Yeah, so it started in our workshop around the solar panel equipment, and then it went through into the ceiling cavity, and then through the soft play building. And once the soft play itself caught, it's all made of foam and PVC.
Yeah.
So it really went. But luckily, we were shut for COVID. So there was nobody in or even around the building. We've got no animals associated with that building at all. There's a few in enclosures around it. We evacuated them as a precaution, but there was no damage to any of that. So they all went straight back in the same day.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of carnage, there's nothing left. The building...
Is that one of the old buildings, or...?
It was already here when we got here.
Oh, right. I thought it was a new building, because I was looking at the brickwork and stuff like that on the outside. It looked fairly new, but...
Yeah, so, that's all got to come down. Yeah, we're working on that now. But that's going to be another long-term job.
So what else was in it? Was that the workshop, you said?
So there's a workshop there, and the soft play, and then the other half of that building was just storage. We had it designated as a tropical house for the zoo, so pretty much your worst nightmare. But yeah, so
it wasn't me. I never done that.
So we're now working on getting that level back to the foundations, and working out how we're going to proceed forward with it and what we're going to do. But yeah, so
you've got a GoFundMe, I think.
We have a GoFundMe, and we have donations through our own website as well.
Right.
The GoFundMe, I think last time I checked, was on about 10k.
Right. Awesome.
Which
do you
was
know roughly how much is needed?
It's almost open ended.
Oh,
right.
Every time something crops up, it adds an extra zero on the end of it, pretty much.
I can imagine.
So yeah, it's a bit of a headache. But
so it could be an ongoing GoFundMe page rather than just for the one day sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it was actually set up by a customer.
Right, that's cool.
It was set up by a customer while the building was still on fire. They set it. They must have caught it on the radio or online, and they set it up before the fire brigade even put it out.
Awesome.
And I know there was a lot of fear for the animals at that point. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook.
Yeah,
that was like the first thing they jumped to. Oh, the animals are right.
Yeah, it's that typical social media speculation.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, they were the staff drill fire escapes on site, and they drill them. They drilled them specifically in the soft play. So if we were open, I have no doubt that everything would have been fine. But the fact that it was shut for COVID just made it quicker and easier and more efficient.
Definitely.
With COVID, we've got time slots for the zoo. So we've got a morning, a midday, and an afternoon slot.
Right.
It happened at 12:10, right between the slots. So we were probably as quiet as we were going to be.
Right.
So in terms of evacuating the rest of the zoo, we were probably at our lowest capacity just by chance. So yeah, there was a set of circumstances involved that made it a bit easier. But now just dealing with it now is the real headache.
So what were the animals that were evacuated?
So the coatis were evacuated because they're up the other side of that building. They're not attached to the building in any way, but they are, within 3 or 4 metres of the building.
Right.
And we evacuated them because of the smoke.
Right. And the coatis are the wee things?
Yeah, so they're related to raccoons.
Raccoon things,
okay. And we evacuated the marmosets that are in our veterinary isolation, which is just in the other side of this building.
Right.
But this half of the building that we're in now didn't actually get any fire damage. It's just the second half, so they just went straight back in once we aired it out and it didn't smell anymore.
Did they panic?
They weren't too fussed when everything was going on. It was just the process of actually having to catch and crate them that was pretty stressful.
Are any of them dangerous? Any of them?
No, those guys are only small primates.
All right, well, that's right.
I'd do my best not to get bitten by them if I could help it.
Right,
And I'm not going to lose any body parts. And the coatis,
like trying to catch a zebra.
Yeah.
that's panicked.
God, aye.
I can imagine it would not be a fun job.
It's tricky. I mean, we have procedures in place for every emergency under the sun. So should there be an incident in an animal house, we have procedures and protocols in place about what we do with certain animals and how we move them and where we put them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's all planning for stuff you never hope's going to actually happen.
God, I've got anxiety just thinking of.
That's a horrible thing. That's just, again, during COVID, you can catch a fire. That's like the worst annoying thing ever.
I think we'd been open 6 days from coming out of lockdown, 6 days, and then we were shut again.
How long were you shut again?
10 days.
We're going to have links to the GoFundMe page and your website and stuff, isn't that, as well? We'll try and push that on Facebook and that.
Definitely.
Damn.
I thought you were thinking in future as well to get sponsors and stuff for like new products and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're working on various corporate sponsorship packages for different things that we've got working through in the pipeline. We've got our actual normal animal adoption packages that will be going live this month as well. So
are these like consumer level, like for us?
Yeah,
sort of
so
thing?
it will be the general what you'd expect from a zoo. So you'll get the soft toy, the certificate, the photograph, the fact sheet, all of that stuff. So we're doing lemurs, meerkats and zebras to start with, but then eventually we'll roll it out across the zoo. Again, it's one of them things that has been in the pipeline for ages, but having COVID and the fire, we've just, it slowed everything down, but then we've also gone, actually, we need to really get this done. There's no point having it on a back burner. Let's just get it done and get it up and running. Online ticketing was the other one. It's been on the cards ever since we opened, but actually being told by the First Minister that we have to get it done for opening back up after COVID meant we actually got it done.
So did you get it done quickly as well? Like really quickly? Aye. So that's one of these things is like you kind of procrastinate a wee bit on certain things, but then it's really quickly done.
Yeah, I mean, for us,
has it made your job a bit easier as well?
A little bit, yes. Made various bits easier. We know roughly how many we've got come in every day. I mean, it does make certain bits easier.
I would also imagine, and this could just be an assumption based on nothing, but that people are going to be more accepting of the rules to come to the zoo.
Definitely.
Like you're not going to have people just trying to force their way in without a mask and stuff.
Yeah, everyone's been pretty good. Yeah, we haven't had any issues. I think people have just got on board with it now, and we just got to accept that this is what it is for a bit.
It's the wee town that we live in. You'll see people all the time just without a mask. Suddenly the uptick in asthma rates has went through the roof in Kenway.
That's quite amazing.
But it seems like in like places like zoos and stuff where it's interest in nature, people tend to take it more seriously. I don't know whether it's a link between people that are interested in that stuff and interested in taking.
Yeah, maybe.
You know.
But yeah, we haven't had any issues with anybody. It's been pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been fine so far.
So, what is your favourite animal?
Oh, everyone asks that.
We're asking for a reason.
Retract that question, because if everybody asks it, we didn't like it.
No, it's I have a massive soft spot for the pair of armadillos we've got.
They are again a cool animal.
Yeah, and the pair of them are proper characters. Like, yeah,
armadillo. That's the thing with the shell.
Yeah,
the hairy thing with the shell.
It's like a giant woodlouse.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Aye,
I kill animals now. Kill animals.
You can too. There's two you were educated on, and then
platypus and an armadillo.
There you go.
All the weird ones.
I have
skunks are animals.
I do like skunks, man. It's the. I've never been close enough to one to get the smelly treatment, but I just don't know if I like that.
Any skunks, no.
No, we don't have skunks.
Do you have a plan to get skunks?
No, not really. No, I've worked with skunks in the past, but I've never been sprayed.
Same thing with the spray thing. Aye, it's not great. Not great.
So, is there an animal that you don't have, but you really want to get? Something that you've not worked with before, or something like that.
For me, it's probably giant anteaters.
They're cool as well.
We have them on our collection plan long term, but that's long term.
Where are they from?
South America.
South America.
And how giant do they get?
You know, a good 6 foot long.
Jesus.
So yeah,
right.
For certain animals, we can bring them into enclosures that are pretty generic. So like the Dabraza monkeys have gone into that enclosure there. Yeah. They actually have a new custom built enclosure being built further down. But that's more than fit for purpose for now, and they're more than happy. It's bigger than the space requirements in the husbandry guidelines. That doesn't work with animals like giant anteaters, because once you build it for them, there's nothing else that can go back in it. So you have to knock it down and start again. So that's a kind of building them their forever home type enclosure. Whereas some of the primates and stuff, we can put them in something that's pretty good, and then we can then find another primate to live in it afterwards.
Is it basically as long as you've got like a tree, like a few branches like that, maybe a bit thicker than that there? Sort of
pretty much. So
they could sort of all deal with that sort of thing.
So once we've built them that, then when they do move, we could find another primate to move in there. Whereas if with something like giant anteaters or something like that, then once they're in, it's been built for them, and there's nothing else that can really use it afterwards. So it means getting rid of it and starting again at a massive financial cost. What's
the feeding protocol for that?
I was just about to ask that. The kitchen must be
just because if that's all they're eating, that must be an absolutely mental way to.
So there's a company they're called Missouri who we use, which specialise in zoo diets. There's a powder. It looks like it's a powder. You mix it into a porridge. It's called termant.
Okay.
That's obviously made out of invertebrates. So that's pretty much giant anteater food. We give a bit to the coatis, to the armadillos, and to the meerkats as well, because they're all insectivores. Well, they eat insects, so we give them a bit of that as well, but it comes by the 10-kilo bucket.
Oh, aye. So, right.
It's not as weird the kitchen as I thought it would be.
Well, I was going to ask about like your day-to-day thing. So, like when you first come in, what's your first job? And if you could lead us through your sort of normal day.
Yeah, so you start as early as I can physically make myself start.
12 in the afternoon.
Yeah, if only it was that easy. So come in, prep everyone's breakfast. We do the chop. We chop all the food the day before into big tubs, and we do a couple of different mixes. We have a leafy green mix, a root veg mix, and a fruit mix. So I come in, get the mixes out of the fridge, weigh all the appropriate quantities out for all the different animals.
You don't need to worry about taking skins off apples or stuff like that.
We leave skin on with everything. Seeds in the peppers, well? I don't bother with any of that, which is concerning, because actually when I cook at home I still leave the seeds. And then out into the zoo, get everyone fed, get everyone cleaned, do the front section first that's open to the public, and then out to the back and do the zebras and all around the back. Normally takes about 3, maybe 4 hours to do it all in all.
And you've got how many people helping you with that?
None. Me. At the moment. Me, or if I'm off, then just another member of staff, but it's normally only one person
clean
working.
And feed all the animals?
Yeah.
Alright.
Christ.
So then, normally get a couple of hours in the afternoon. So then I do the chop for the next day and get it all boxed up and in the fridge. And then whatever needs doing in the afternoon. Bits of grounds and maintenance, trying to build the next bit of whatever we're up to.
Because you have to do pretty much everything, really. Again.
Yeah, so finishing off this, fixing stuff because stuff breaks all the time.
Yeah.
Or paperwork in my case.
Aye, that's the boring part of the job. The unfortunate paperwork.
It's part of it.
It's part of the job, man.
It's what it is. I don't mind doing it. It's okay.
You got a break.
Yeah, as long as I'm not doing it 9 to 5, I don't mind.
Well, that's it. Yeah, definitely.
But and then everyone gets fed again from about 3:30, 4 o'clock onwards. So go around, feed everyone. Everyone gets visually health checked again, and whoever needs shutting in overnight gets shut in overnight.
Right.
Up until now, everyone's had pretty much free reign 24 hours a day. But now the weather's starting to turn and the temperatures dropping. We're going to start slowly bringing animals back in and turning the heating up. And then, home. Start again the next day.
Gas bill.
Gas bill's going to be
electric.
ridiculous.
Yeah, electric bill's phenomenal.
I could imagine. God.
And now we don't have solar either.
Aye.
God.
That was. Oh man.
So it just gets bad to worse, doesn't it?
I think if the future plans of setting up a zoo, I think we're going to leave it.
Aye. We had great plans too. Fife Zoo too.
Fife Zoo too. Aye.
I'm not doing that.
Terrible idea. Let's not do that. Well, Michael, thank you very much for joining us. It's been much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
Is there anything else you want to mention before we go?
If there's anything you need to promote or anything like that, or
Don't think so.
What's the
I
website
think we
address?
covered everything really.
Just fifezoo.co.uk. Just a couple of bits that we've got going on. We've got so the lemurs will be outside ready for October half term. Don't think it'll be ready as a walkthrough because of COVID.
Yep.
But it's been designed as a walkthrough, so once COVID's gone, you'll actually be able to walk through the middle of that. But for now, it'll be walking around the outside, and then we've just got 2 weeks of Halloween themed everything.
What are you doing for Halloween?
Nice.
So the middle weekend of half term, we're doing our normal Halloween party, boo at Fife Zoo. But it'll obviously all be outside based this year. Last year it was in the soft play.
Oh, yeah.
And subsequent years it's been in the soft play. So yeah, pumpkin hunt, all of the traditional stuff, fancy dress competition. Yeah, same as every year, but
It's
just
a cool place
even
today
bigger.
up here as well. It's a cool place today.
There's a sign that says you got bats.
Bats.
Bats, yeah.
We've got a
bat roost, I think it
wild
was
bat
called.
roost
Right.
just on one of the buildings.
Oh, it's not part of the zoo, it's just...
Nothing to do with us. They're
Oh,
wild.
right, okay.
Free animals.
Yeah, they were here when we got here. We do a bio blitz every year, which is like a big 24-hour wildlife survey on site.
Right.
Okay.
Where we count all the wildlife, but flora and fauna includes all the plants and stuff, not including the animals that live at the zoo. It's all the wild stuff.
Okay.
And it's growing every year, the bat roost, so it's quite cool.
Cool, man. Cool.
I think I've seen a bat before.
No close up.
Not close up.
No, that'll be cool. Well, again, Michael, thanks for coming.
No problem.
Well, thanks for coming. We came at you.
Well, we came at you.
The other way of it, aye, much appreciated.
Magic.